welcome everyone. In case we haven't yet met, I'm Cara Pryor. I'm the president of James Publishing. I'm also the founder of our marketing amplifier system. Let me stop share. I don't need that anymore. Okay, yeah. So, we really have a good one for you today. I'm excited about the session. Everyone's talking about it. Really few know how to do it well. Today, we're getting down to the details. I'm talking about social media, specifically how to win clients on Facebook and Instagram, how social videos could be the single most important piece of your marketing this year. So if you're talking about social media for law firms, it's pretty much a no-brainer that you need our guest in the room. Well, virtually in the room, at least, I guess. So today we have attorney Ali Awad with us, the master of social media. Hey, Ali, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to blow some people's socks off.
Yeah, that's what we're all about today. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about Ali, even though most of you are probably familiar. He built his $15 million personal injury firm using social media. So he's certainly kind of cracked the code on generating new clients using video, using social media. As CEO lawyer on Instagram, he's attracted more than 1.4 million followers. So today he's going to let us in on some of those secrets, some of his top tips, kind of how he did it. We're also going to look at a few law firm social profiles and kind of perform some live audits on what they're doing well, where there might be room, for improvement, where we kind of see some common pitfalls to really help you kind of launch or hopefully grow those social profiles. So feel free to ask questions anytime in the chat. We'll answer as many of them as we can. So Ali, we're going to get to all of it today, but let's start with the basics. I don't think we really need to convince attorneys any longer that it's a big mistake to ignore their social presence, right? I think this group understands that. But what if they are just starting out, right? So what platforms should they be on? What are some of the common kind of early basic social media profile mistakes you see from attorneys? So not even really getting into the posts yet, but just the basic setup profiles. What can you talk about that? Just kind of getting into the basics.
Yeah, so first of all, a little bit about me. I'm a personal injury lawyer. I started my practice February 13th, 2017 from the trunk of my car. All I had was my phone, my laptop, and I was living with a roommate, spending $300 a month in rent to just bootstrap my business from very, very humble beginnings. In 2018, my first full year in business, I did over $3.2 million in settlements, all from social media cases and clients that I was generating. And a lot of people ask me like, hey, well, did you have that one windfall that was like $1 million or a $2 million case? No, most of these cases were $25,000 car accident, minimum policy insurance cases. And I just got really, really good at communicating with clients effectively on social media, getting them to hire me, getting them to trust me, and then delivering on the back end. So a lot of people know me for social media, but really I spent years perfecting my craft as a personal injury lawyer. And the very first thing that I would advise anyone before they start building their social media presence, before you start scaling up, you should skill up. And what I mean by that is don't focus so much on the client acquisition. My entire sales and persuasion strategy is to educate you so much that you can't even imagine working with anyone else, because I've already given you so much free legal information, so much business advice, so much marketing strategies, whatever you're coming to me for. I've given you so much overwhelming value that you feel bad that you won't hire me. And so you do that by simply educating people, getting the stuff that's already in your head and portraying it on video. So the number one problem isn't people not using the correct platform or the correct video, aspect ratios, or not putting the right kind of subtitles or the catchy header. The number one problem is overcoming this mental block of just sharing content with people. All you have to do is just think about what's in your mind. Think about the frequently asked questions, the things that your clients always ask you for, and then just put it on video. Just answer it. Most of the time, you'll find that your answers are going to come extemporaneously. You're going to be able to speak about these topics so easily because you don't have to practice. You know this stuff. You've lived it for years. You know it like the back of your hand. So get out of that habit of, or that process of, I have to create content. I have to create these videos. No, it's all about documenting. In fact, even right now, as I'm doing this Zoom call, I have my phone right here. And so as I'm doing my Zoom call in my studio, I make sure that I have my phone recording at the same time, because I know that at some point I'm going to say something brilliant, and I just hope that I had it recorded, like even a blind squirrel can find a nut, right? So it's just, you got to get out of your head about creating content, and that's it. It's not, there's no, magic pill or secret strategy. Most of the time it's the people that have done something 1,000 times. I grew up as a martial artist. I grew up fighting, and my whole family's black belts. And we have this saying where you shouldn't worry about the fighter that has practiced 10,000 kicks once. You should worry about the fighter that has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And that was kind of like literally my motto, because I always had this backswing kick that everyone knew me for. And whenever I go to a karate tournament, if you're fighting me, you're going to get knocked out. And it's going to be with the same exact kick that I knock everyone out with. And I'm doing the same thing now. I just focus on one thing and I become an expert at it. I'm not great at my YouTube content. Let's be clear. I'm not the best at YouTube. I don't have the biggest Facebook following. There are dozens of lawyers that have a bigger TikTok following. I just focused on the one thing. I was really good at generating cases through Instagram and creating that content on Facebook, sharing it on both platforms, and then just getting in that motion and that consistency of putting content, communicating with clients, building that following, and then making sure that I deliver it on the back end. So it's still a big blue ocean. Even for someone like me, I'm learning how to get better at some of these other platforms. So wherever you are in your practice area, as long as you have some knowledge that people actually want, and you're not just guessing and trying to get people's attention just for fun, and that's why you should scale up before you scale up, I promise you there are people that would want to resonate and would want to communicate with you on social media. So that's where I would start. And then we can obviously go into the fundamentals and all the other stuff about setting up your pages and all that stuff, but just create. That's it.
Yeah. I think you bring up such an important key sort of critical element, Ali, in that, it's not, so many of the attorneys I've talked to are so hyper focused on, I want to create content for Facebook so that I will get a new client. Like, that whole mindset, it's sort of flawed, right? And if you don't have that baseline, if you're not coming at it from kind of a place of value and looking to kind of build those relationships and really looking at it for, the long-term kind of the higher purpose, you're not going to, post a couple of videos and the leads are going to start flowing in. Right. So
Cara, I will give a little caveat to that. I 100% agree with you when it comes to personal injury clients. If anyone is in a personal injury business or anything that I like to call a reactive business, where there needs to be a precedent, a conditioned precedent must occur before someone can hire you, i.e. they're in an accident. That's not their fault. They are actually injured. They want to see a doctor and they're willing to hire an attorney, and hopefully there's insurance coverage available. That's a conditioned precedent to be able to hire you. And on average, the average American gets in one car accident every 17.9 years. So that's like a very big long-term branding play. So in a reactive business, you're absolutely right. You can't just create one or two videos and expect, and by the way, it does happen sometimes. It's a fluke. I've had it happen before, but that's what luck is, right? Luck is just a byproduct of consistency and hard work. You'll eventually get lucky when you do something over and over and over again. In a proactive business, if anyone is in the credit repair business, or if you deal with expungements for criminal history, or if you do, let's say, intellectual property, B2B, where you want to advertise to specific businesses, and you want to tell them, hey, I'll do this trademark for you, I'll do this copyright. You can actually get clients from just one exceptional video, but most of those practices are proactive businesses, and the ones where you can do one or two videos and just kind of plug and play. They're not focused on branding. The problem with that is that the moment you stop running that video as an ad, you stop spending money, the leads dry up. Right. What we're looking at here is building a brand. We're looking at, and by the way, my Instagram got shut down last year for like 2 weeks. And you would think that, oh, my business got decimated as a result, but no, people still Googled CEO lawyer. People still knew my phone number, 833 Ali Awad, because it's my name. Right? Because I built that brand over the years, I had zero effect on my business because I didn't put all of my eggs into one basket. So you're absolutely right, Cara. you should be building a brand to protect yourself from having to always spend money. But if you're looking to just get some leads, you want some quick cash, like let me get some clients in right through the door. Yes, you can do that in proactive businesses. Yes, you can go buy leads from certain lead generation companies. Yes, you can, negotiate with other attorneys and do fee splits. All of that is on the table, but your highest profit margins and your best cases are going to come from the ones that people specifically seek you out for based on your brand. So that's why this conversation is so important.
Yeah, good point. And you've obviously seen explosive growth kind of through this long-term branding. You're the face of the firm, of course, but we have so many solo and small law firms on here today. So what steps do you kind of recommend they take to really start making growth a priority, to be frank?
What kind of growth? Like growth on your social media, growth in your business?
I mean, that's a good question. I think ultimately growth in the business, right? But, so often I hear from attorneys who they're dealing with pressing client matters. They can't possibly add another task to their desk. They know they need to be on social media. Where, what gives? How can they start to move items off their desk? How can they look for freelancers? How can they, prioritize their goals, really?
So there's a difference between a practitioner and an entrepreneur. There's a difference between being in the practice of medicine and the business of medicine, the practice of accounting and the business of accounting, the practice of law and the business of law. You have to figure out which one you're in. Are you a practitioner? Are you a true artist? Are you the person that really likes to dive deep into the fundamentals of your practice and how to add value and how to create new precedents in case law or in medicine or in technology, whatever the case may be? Or are you just interested in running the business? Are you the type of person that wants to hire other people to do these specific tasks because you love the growth, you love the marketing, you love the interaction with business people and other entrepreneurs? Ask yourself first, are you in the practice of law or the business of law? And if you're in the practice of law and you have no interest in the business of law, then you either need a partner or you need someone like an office manager or a COO, someone that can do the entrepreneurial, the marketing, the business side of things. Your highest and best use is going to be in litigating those cases because you can personally maximize the value on those cases. However, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person. I met with an attorney just yesterday. He's a super techie guy. He created his own software system for case management. He has a 15-person law firm and he's still litigating cases. And I told him, like, your highest and best use is not litigating these cases. Your highest and best use is utilizing the technology and maximizing the efficiency throughout your organization so that you can attract more clients, attract more talent to your organization, and put people in these specific roles so that you can grow the company. So a lot of times that stress that you're experiencing is not because you don't know what to do. It's because there's something that you need to do. You're just not doing it. That's where a lot of this stress comes from. So I encourage you to first audit your business lifestyle. Are you in the practice or are you in the business? And then make strategic plans towards removing yourself from that which you do not want to do. Start with the lowest level tasks, the things that can be done with virtual assistants or $8, $10, $12 an hour employees. Those are things you absolutely should hate doing. And yes, there's a difference between low-level tasks and high-level tasks. Don't outsource a high-level task to a low-level employee. Example, if you are drafting high-stakes litigation complaints and there's a company that drafts complaints for you for $500 and you're like, oh, well, as a business person, I could just outsource this and, bill it to my client. That is an extremely high-level task that you should not outsource. However, if it's the same complaint for a diminished value claim on a property damage, and there's only $3,000 in maximum recovery, and you spending an hour drafting this complaint for a maximum recovery of maybe $1,200 in attorney's fees after you go to the hearing and go to the trial, that's not a good use of your time. So the analysis starts with, what do you like? Are you in the business or are you in the practice? And then identifying where you want to be and itemizing all the specific tasks that are being done in your specific role, from low-level tasks to mid-level tasks to high-level tasks. I like outsourcing the low-level ones first because it kind of forces me into higher-level tasks only. And if you want to figure out a quick exercise or you want to do a quick exercise to see how important this is, just look at your last year's revenue and how many hours you worked last year. And if you made $200,000 net for yourself or for your business last year, and you worked an average of 40 hours a week and you took 2 weeks off, that puts you at 2,000 hours of work. That means your average value is $100 per hour. Now, if you start taking cases that average $50 per hour, like if you're a probate attorney and you do wills, trusts, and estates, and you help with local courthouses and indigent communities where you're taking on these $50 an hour cases, you can never exceed that $200,000 a year in income. Now, obviously, something can be said about the happiness that you derive from helping indigent and helping the underserved communities. But from a business perspective, you can actually have more impact if you're an expert entrepreneur and you decide how to hire all these other attorneys to do that $50 an hour work instead of you being the one that does it yourself. I'm the guy that donates to build hospitals. I'm not the guy that's going to, take a shovel and put it in the dirt, if that makes sense. And that's what you need to figure out for your own business.
Yeah, that's great advice. That really is. Because I think it's hard when, you're in the grind and you might not have a lot of support, right? So it's hard to kind of take that step back sometimes, but it's exactly what is needed to kind of go to the next level. So Ali, kind of moving along, let's talk about content. Everyone wants to know what type of content performs best, right? But on your social media, you've certainly mastered kind of the balance of educational and entertaining posts. How would you recommend other attorneys approach their social media content so that it doesn't feel boring and it really does capture attention, right? While, of course, providing the value that you talk about.
So this is actually a really important topic, and I want to stress this before we get into all of the content strategies. Okay. When you're doing face-to-face communication and talking to people, you don't need to have an elevated or an elated type of personality and charisma because you're face-to-face, you're 18 to 36 inches apart, you're in that comfort zone. They can read your body language, your eye, your expressions, everything. However, when you're doing that same type of communication in two-way video, like on FaceTime, it's a little bit lower. Like on Zoom, you can't really give that same type of body language because usually your bottom half isn't even showing and people can't tell whether you're actually facing them or you're not really paying attention or if there's noise and background, all these issues going on in the back. So you have to increase that level of energy. If you're doing two-way communication on the phone, where they say that over 90% of communication is just body language. It's not what you say, but how you say it. And you don't have that when you're on the phone. You have to increase that level of energy. That's all two-way communication. Well, think about it when you go to one-way communication, where I'm just putting out a video and posting it online and I can't even see your reaction. Now you have to increase your energy even more. You have to increase the voice an eighth of an octave. You have to give people a little bit more excitement. You have to smile more. You have to be more proactive about raising your energy and raising your eyebrows and getting closer to the camera because the interpersonal communication is not there. So the very first thing when thinking about creating your content is to increase the energy when you're talking on the camera because boring content kills. And I would rather you create one exciting video once a week than to create 100 boring videos every single day. Be exciting first and understand that you have to be exciting because you're competing against all these supermodels and cute kittens and like delicious food and people are so easily distracted because they just got a thumb and all they got to do is just boop and they're on the next video. So you have 1.5 seconds to grab someone's attention. And during that 1.5 seconds, you have to get excited. You have to bring that energy. And even if your video is only 15 to 30 seconds, think about how you can cut as much bullshit from your video, kind of like when you're doing legal writing and they say, oh, there's a 2,000 word document. You need to split it, cut it down into 800 words or less. You need to do the same with your content. Get to the point fast, grab people's attention in the first 1 second. And I promise you, that's when you have a higher chance of going viral. That's where it starts.
That's great. What do you do? What do you do in that first second and a half? How do you kind of stop that scroll?
It's a hook.
Yeah.
The hook can be something like, my billionaire friend told me, boom, boom, boom. The first time I ever made $1 million was boom, boom, boom. Stop scrolling right now and watch this. These are all hooks. These are all, and by the way, if you have like like extra things and gadgets and gizmos that you can, use and be like, so people have something that distracts them a little bit. It always works a little bit better, but the hook is always something that people would be interested in. And the hook is never introducing your name and your law firm and your business.
Yeah.
That's not a hook. You earn that right once you've built an audience and once you've built a brand. But the truth is, the way the algorithms work is they're going to show your video to the first 500 or 1,000 people. And if those people like the video, then they'll push it out to the next 10,000 people. And if those people like it, then they'll push it. They're not going to always push it out to your followers first. They always try to push it to a mix of general population and to your followers. So if only your followers engage with your content because they love you, the moment it gets pushed to other people that are not following your page, it tanks. So yes, you might get great engagement by just the people that are following you, which depending on your business, that might be sufficient. But the purpose of this is growth. And so you have to sacrifice that initial comfort level of creating content that you like, hey, I'm attorney Ali Awad and I do this. Instead, maybe just edit your video so that the highest climax and the conclusion, the most exciting part gets placed in the beginning. We started doing that with my content. Even when I can't help myself to change, and I always do an introduction, sometimes whenever I get most excited, whenever my energy gets the highest, we just put that in the beginning and then you loop it back at the end of the video, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how you're also a master at kind of repurposing the content. Like you said, you're recording this now, you're kind of always looking for that nugget, that chunk, how can we kind of repurpose and reuse and because I think that is sometimes lost too when, attorneys think they have to have, custom created content for every, specific, post and platform. And, there's so much that can be done by, pulling out those juicy nuggets and really, throwing them out there. You and I have talked about kind of your most popular post categories. Maybe you can go into that a little bit because I found that really helpful.
So as of December 2021, YouTube completely redesigned their vertical feed, and they're doing it in direct response to Instagram and TikTok. And so as of right now, as of January 2022, forget about a lot of the stuff that I've said in the past about content because it's always changing. It's whatever these platforms want to push. Right now in 2022, the best thing that you can create for content and organic reach are vertical videos, a full 9:16 video where it's a 9:16 aspect ratio. You do not create the video in Snapchat or in TikTok or in Instagram because there's a lot of limitations. You record the video on your phone. You can edit it on a professional like Adobe Premiere or some other app within your phone, and you post it on 3 channels: Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. That's probably the best content strategy that you can use right now for January 2022 and beyond.
Nice. That's a juicy tip.
This just happened, by the way, Cara. It's not like if we had this conversation just last month. In fact, while I was doing my summit, YouTube just came out with that update. Right. So I'm giving you all live information. I just met with my media team just a few days ago. We completely changed our entire content strategy. Someone just asked to repeat. So is it okay if I just go through it one more time?
Yep, that'd be great.
All right. So right now in 2022, the best thing that you can do for content is to create vertical videos, 9:16 on your phone. Do not create them in TikTok. Do not create them in Instagram. Do not create them in any platform that has a branded watermark logo. Create the video on your phone, edit it in Adobe Premiere or any other software, and then post it as a YouTube short, as a TikTok video, or as an Instagram reel. All 3 of these platforms are competing for competition right now. So the highest and best use of your content and the most likelihood of getting organic virality is by creating videos in 9:16 format, posting them on TikTok, as Instagram Reel, and as YouTube Shorts. You try that for the next 3 months, and I promise you, you're going to get insane engagement on your videos.
Ollie, that's awesome. And these are short. These are really, really short clips, right?
Under a minute. Yeah. In fact, the video that I just did is one.
Right. Danny asks, what about the platform costs?
There
I'm not
are
sure.
no
Yeah, unless we're talking about advertising, yeah, this just, it's free. But actually that does bring me to my next question. How does Facebook advertising kind of play into all this? When is it sort of the right time to layer on paid social advertising? Or maybe put another way, what kind of needs to be in place first before a firm can be successful with ads?
I recommend that you spend the first 90 days creating content before you run any ads. The reason for that is because Facebook that owns Instagram, TikTok, Google that owns YouTube, all these platforms are competing for that attention. They want to get as much of your screen time as possible. And so when you decide to run an ad, these are multi-billion and trillion-dollar conglomerates. So your $500 a month in ad spend can't go very far if your content sucks. But if it's viral content, it's something that got an organic 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 views, and you put a little bit of money behind it, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram will reward you by showing that to more people. So as a general rule, you should not run your content as an ad unless it already has an element of virality. The video needs to perform well organically in order for it to perform well as a paid strategy. Now, it doesn't mean you can't run ads that don't go viral. You absolutely can, but that's what every other company does. The best ads are always the ones that are very, what's the best? It's not, I don't want to keep saying viral, but it's the ones that are very memorable. When you see an ad on your phone, you're scrolling and it's like the poop plunger, or it's like, someone that's like, skydiving or doing something crazy. Those videos are always the most memorable. And I'm not saying you have to go and spend a ridiculous amount of money. I'm just saying you have to test out different styles of content within your comfort level, or maybe a little bit outside of your comfort level, to see what your audience likes most. And when you create for your audience, they will tell you what works. This is so important because before TikTok, before 2016, when TikTok was created or released in China and then adopted in the US in 2017 and beyond, you had to buy focus groups. You had to hire a group of people and tell them, hey, I want you to watch this piece of content and let me know what your reaction is. And you'd have to pay them like 10, 20, 30 bucks an hour to review your content. And hopefully you're hoping that you get enough of a diversity of people where it's like, okay, I want a young African-American female. I want an older white male. I want Hispanic representation. I want all these different people to watch my videos so that I can get an objective view without my own subjective poisoning of whether I like the video or not. So don't run ads for the videos that you like. Run ads for the videos that your audience tells you they like. And here are the 5 things that you pay attention to. The highest level of engagement that you can get on a video is a share. When someone shares your video, if they share it on Instagram, you can see it in your, here, I'll show you in your insights. So, like on this post, for instance, you can click this button right here, view insights. I think I clicked the wrong button. I clicked the boost post, my bad. So you can see right here, this post had what, like 300 likes, 10, 12 comments. I can't tell, 57 comments, yep. 30 sends and 22 shares. Okay. Or 22 saves. That button means it's been saved and that button means it's been shared. That's very, very low engagement for like a page like mine. But if I look and see, if I look at some of my other posts and I see something that has 1,000 shares or 10,000 shares, I know that that performed exceptionally well for the size of my audience. And that's what I run as an ad. So the shares and saves are the highest level of engagement. Next are the comments, if someone comments on your page. Next are the reactions. So on Facebook is the only platform where you can do a reaction. Well, actually YouTube as well. YouTube is the only platform that gives you a dislike button. So, use that accordingly. And the like is the lowest level of engagement, and don't really pay attention to views because views can be manipulated and it's not really a form of engagement. In fact, if you create a 3-second video and it loops people are probably going to watch it for a long time, and it's going to show that you have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views, when in reality, it's just a really short video and people are stuck in a loop. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to elicit a positive reaction when you're running it as an ad. So those are the general principles of when I decide to run ads.
Super helpful. So we're going to look at least 2, maybe 3 law firm Instagram and Facebook profiles. And I just want to get your take, Ali. Oh, before we get into that, Tim asked, what is vertical? When Ali was talking about shooting a vertical video, he just meant hold your phone vertically rather than horizontally. That's all it meant. So shoot it vertically, up and down. Okay.
Yeah, the other option is to shoot in 4K very far away.
Okay. Okay.
And then that way you can zoom in and just use the vertical aspect of it.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let me open this first profile, O'Connor Law, Mary Ellen O'Connor. She is a Social Security Disability and Workers' Comp.
I think you have to share your screen because I can't see it.
Yep, I'm doing it now. She is in New York. Here we go. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So let me kind of scroll through. You can see obviously some of her basic info up here. She has some testimonials. She has some other kind of categories, FAQs up here. Let me try and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so kind of scrolling through, I'm going to click on some of this. She has an
injury is a shoulder injury from shoveling.
Okay, we got some law firm appreciation. I'm just going to kind of scroll through some birthday messages, holiday stuff. Looks like, some firm updates. Let's see what else. Some community holiday events, some testimonials. Want me to keep scrolling, Ollie?
No, I think you should just ask your audience.
Yeah.
What does your audience think about when they see this page?
Yeah. Let's hear in the chat.
People that are in this chat.
Yeah. Let's hear. So what's your initial impression? What do you think when you scroll through this page? Is this something that you find compelling? What do you think is done well? Like, let's hear. Come on. There's a lot of people. There's over 100 people on this. So let's hear in the chat, and then Ali and we'll talk about it. I think it's nice, but not compelling. Okay. Maybe expand on that a little bit. Too much non-legal stuff. Interesting. Yeah. Does not compete with the beautiful people. I like the consistent posting. Maybe some more personal touch would help. More consistent branding would be good. Joe says graphically nice, but looks like advertising. Low engagement compared to the follower count. Good. Okay. Doesn't grab attention. Needs movement. All right.
Yeah, that's all of these are valid points.
Yep.
I love that comment. Feels like the content is just being created just for the sake of creating content.
Yes.
And I'm advertising just to say I'm doing social media, and here is the litmus test for content creation. Are you creating this for your own ego? Is it for your own advertising? Is it for yourself to feel good? Or is it to give people valuable information, or at least entertaining information, right? And that's where you're kind of not meeting that requirement. Social media is a social platform. It's not an advertising platform, okay? If you wanted to do that, just go spend money on Google pay-per-click. There's plenty of money to throw away over there. But this is not so I'll go into the technical stuff first, and then I'll give you some feedback on how to make this a little bit better with very low hanging fruit. The first thing is the name, OC Law NY. That's hard to remember, okay? And it gives the feeling of a business page of a law firm. And people don't like following businesses. They like following people. For creating 450 different posts and still not getting anyone to really engage, that means your strategy is not working that well. I see that it's a New York workers law, New York workers compensation and social security disability attorneys. I think a much better name would be workers advocates, workers rights, legal help for workers, legal tips for workers, blue collar attorney. Those are all, and all you do is just share captivating content. And so I can kind of give you feedback off the top of my head on other people that are in similar practice areas that are doing this really well. And if you create content that makes people feel like you're going against the man, right? Like, hey, we're all in this together. An example is, hey, if your employer didn't pay you your last check, under New York law, you're entitled to this, 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 and this. In order to do that, you go to this website. If you have any more questions, follow my page. And that's it. It's a quick 10, 15-second video to give people information. But in the 450 posts that we have here, I mean, it feels like you're advertising yourself instead of giving people valuable information. And I would start by, a really low-hanging fruit is look up the laws that people don't know about, that are probably employers don't want you to know about, and use that to your advantage. Like literally laws that your employers don't want you to know about. Number one, and then you just go straight into it. That's how you start your video. Here are 3 laws that your employers do not want you to know about. And that's how the video starts. And you can literally try that strategy for the next 50 videos. I promise you, you're going to be at 1,000 followers in no time because your content's going to go viral. Just make sure you're posting it on Instagram Reels, as on YouTube Shorts, and on TikTok. They will go viral, but I do think you should change the name. OC Law NY is just really hard to remember. I also think that you have too much text on a lot of these posts. There was one comment that said not like too much non-legal stuff. That's actually not a problem. It's totally okay to not have legal stuff all the time, but a Happy New Year post is just a waste of space. A Happy Columbus Day is just a waste of space. But if you're creating a video telling people why this specifically matters to you or why it's relevant, people like action. This is your show. Like, do people get a good show when they come to your page, or are they getting a really boring show and they would just rather watch commercials? That's what your page is.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. I was just looking at some of the comments and questions. So Corinne says, because I think that's awesome feedback on the name. I think that it seems like a no-brainer, but when attorneys, law firms are starting their Instagram, for instance, they're like, well, I guess I'll just call it, what my firm's called. But, Corinne asks, what are some recommendations for personal injury firm names? What do you say there, Ali?
Look, I think you want a name that you can grow into, that you can see still being relevant 5, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I think if you're like a Southwest North Dakota car accident lawyer, that might be a little too specific, but just think about the absolute biggest possible brand you could ever have in your life. I mean, you'd want to at least have the option to grow nationally, right? Or maybe not globally, but at least nationally. And if not nationally, at least regionally. So pick a name that people can remember very easily. And it does not have to be your law firm name. I recommend doing a personal brand for yourself instead of a business brand, because people don't get excited about following Under Armour, but they love watching The Rock because he's advocating for it. People will follow Tim Cook all day long and see what he's all about. Jeff Bezos's content keeps going viral. Elon Musk's content goes viral, but their companies, not so much. And I know that's a really, really big example, but I needed to use examples that people could, easily identify. Your personal brand will always outperform your business brand. Yeah. It takes so many years to build a business brand, but your personal brand can be done with your phone right off the bat. So how much barrier to entry do you want? Do you want the lowest hanging fruit? If you create for the next 90 days, vertical videos using just your phone, and you post those videos and you keep them within 15 to 30 seconds, and you post them on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels, I promise you, some content is going to go viral. And the first time your video gets 100,000 views, run that shit as an ad. Because you already got the virality. Now and you know who you run it as an ad to? All of your followers and all the friends of your followers. You'll only spend like literally a few bucks, but then it makes your image seem really, really big. Like in Atlanta, people seriously think I'm a celebrity because my content, my face is in front of you all the time. But it's because I strategically run my ads to specific people. So the people that I want to see my content are the ones that think I'm in their face all the time. So think about that big blue ocean and just carving out that one little niche that you want. Question that came up, how often should I post? Honestly, you can't post enough. You really can't. But I don't think that you should look at it from a minimum, like, oh, I'll just post once a day and I'll be fine. Dude, post as much as you can. If a weekend goes by and you sit in a room and you record 10, 20 videos, don't post them all at once. Spread them out, on a daily basis. I do recommend that you try to post at least once a day, but that's more of a minimum. Is the car wreck professor a good name? Here's the thing. Cars are going to get automated. Okay. I would not build a brand around something that could be obliterated due to technology. So I like car wreck professor, but I would love the law professor, or the legal pro or something like that, or law made easy, right? Like something that you could really grow into, because dude, social media videos, it's hard to create personal injury content all the time. How much can I talk about car accidents? That's why I'm CEO lawyer, because I love business. I love marketing. I just love all this other stuff outside of just doing car accidents. So don't create a brand that you're pigeonholed in. Make sure it's at least a little bit big so we can grow into it.
Yeah, some other questions too. Might as well get to them.
Hootsuite. Yeah. I think Hootsuite and Loomly are the ones that we use.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. In the Q&A, it looks like Alan asked about DUI names. I think Ali kind of, went over some good tips for just, criteria make for a good name. Tim Brown, I have no Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube channel. What's the best approach of opening up all 3 avenues at the same time?
I think just start with TikTok.
Do it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think just start with TikTok. Like while I was in meeting with my media team a few days ago, we created 3 new pages like within a matter of minutes, because we're like, oh, we want to create more Spanish content. So we created one. We want to create more, business content. So we created that. TikTok and Instagram are really the easiest to use. There's a small learning curve. YouTube is a little bit higher, and you can't reserve your YouTube name unless you have 100 subscribers. So it's a little bit harder. Although I do recommend using all 3. Like if you're going to put effort and energy into creating vertical videos, you have to use all 3 of those platforms, because one of them could have your video go viral. And before you know it, you're sitting on 5,000 or 10,000 followers and you're like, I have a real following now. And you can get them to move between platforms. So you can get your YouTube audience to, hey, follow me on Instagram for this sneak peek. And you get your TikTok audience to overflow to Instagram. So that's why it's important to utilize all 3. And also, they're all 3 different companies. So if Facebook and Instagram decide to cancel your account, you still have a YouTube audience. Google rarely shuts YouTube pages down, or because Google just really loves money. But Instagram has been blocking people's accounts left and right. TikTok has banned all legal advertisement lately. There is a workaround to it, and I'll be more than happy to go into that. But there's you need to diversify. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So I would prefer that you use all 3 platforms, but if you have to choose one, go with TikTok.
Yeah, good advice. Corinne just said Hootsuite, and what was your other platform suggestion?
Loomly.
Oh yeah, Loomly. Yeah, Hootsuite and Loomly, Corinne. Kim's interested in the workaround for the TikTok ads.
Takes a little bit long to.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah, we'll circle back on that, Kim. A good question here. Do you recommend taking an acting class to get comfortable in front of the camera?
No. So look, the only acting courses you need are literally from your phone, and then scrolling. Like, watch what other people are doing and see how you can get other people's engagement to flow into your energy. When I first started doing my videos, I would do 15, 20 takes. Okay. Like it takes a long time to get good at something. If all of you are lawyers or professionals in what you do, think about how long you've been doing what you do. I've been an attorney for 5 years, but I've been creating content for 10. So I'm way better at the social media, the engagement, the marketing, the business side of things than I am as an attorney. So it takes time, but understand that every video you create does not have to be posted.
Mhm.
You can actually practice and then just wait to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. The more you do something, the better you get, right? The more comfortable you get. Can you comment on whether to set up an account as business or personal, differences and benefits and setbacks? You kind of talked about this a little bit as far as kind of representing yourself. People want to talk to people rather than organizations, but as far as setting up the profile, Ollie, maybe I'll just let you take that.
Setting up the profile on which platform?
Let's go with Facebook specifically, since there's business profile there.
Business, I mean, all of these are really easy. Like, this is stuff you can Google. But the reach on a Facebook business page is just not as good as Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, or YouTube Shorts. Here's the thing, like, I don't want to discourage you, because it's very possible you can create 1,000 videos and no one sees them. But your best chance of people seeing that content is by posting them on the 3 platforms in the specific ways that I just described. YouTube Shorts, TikTok as a generic video, and Instagram Reels. Now, some Instagram apps only give you the 15 or 30-second option, depending on your account, and some of them give you the 30 or 60-second option. So I would suggest, if your videos are always either 15 or 30 seconds, that's the highest likelihood that they're going to go viral. That's what I would do. In fact, 12.8 seconds is like that sweet spot.
Nice. How do you edit your videos, Ollie?
I have a 7-person media team personally, but in the beginning, I just edited them all on my phone. I would just download different apps.
I think that's another area where, don't overthink the editing either. It's like, get the content out there, and it doesn't need to be this high production value video.
Yeah, in fact, also, some of us have a face for radio, right? So we're just not great on video, nor do we want to be on video. My best performing content is not video. They're just pictures with a really, really thoughtful copy to go along with it. Yeah. I can show you all some examples of that. I'll show you my best performing ad, because I promised I'd give you my best performing post, so I'm going to give it to you.
That's great.
But we can answer a few more questions as I pull this up.
Yeah. So, well, what should a vertical ad look like? What name for a firm handling property tax reduction? A lot of people are interested in your ideas for page names. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. Why did you create CEO Lawyer in addition to your firm website? Why not do everything on one site?
That's a really good question, David. That's because I'm still practicing and still getting better at what I do. So as of this year, the CEO Lawyer brand on digital surpassed my law firm and all the money that I spent on pay-per-click. So I'm actually killing the Ali Awad law name and going 100% on CEO Lawyer. Nice. I'm going all in the CEO Lawyer brand. So we're getting rid of everything that's Ali Awad law and just going 100% on CEO Lawyer. And it's kind of crazy because I never thought that CEO Lawyer would be a good name for a law firm, but I actually am renaming my business, my law firm, to Ali Awad Law, doing business as CEO Lawyer Accident and Injury Attorneys. Why accident and injury attorneys? Because for the Google Map Pack and the SEO, you get that added benefit. CEO Lawyer, so I can take advantage of my existing digital brand. So the question is so great because it shows you that you can pivot, you can grow. When you're presented with new information, your mindset should change. So I just realized recently that I was competing with Ali Awad Law and CEO Lawyer. So now everything's going to go under the CEO Lawyer umbrella. And I even took it a step further. So now I have my CEO Lawyer Academy, where we take lawyers to 8 figures virtually. We have our CEO Media company, our consulting company. So everything is under ceolawyer.com. And I'm using subdomains like academy.ceolawyer.com, like coaching.ceolawyer.com. And it builds way more brand value and brand equity. And so now my business is evolving to where I even want referrals from other lawyers. Like, I'm actually a good attorney. It's not just the marketing side. Like, I actually know how to settle these cases and get a lot of money for my clients. So I'm going to start advertising to get referrals from other Georgia lawyers, Tennessee lawyers where we're licensed, and other states to refer us cases if they have accidents in these situations. So the brand is evolving. And honestly, as long as your name is big enough and as long as you promote it enough, dude, like, no one really cares the name. It just has to be easy to remember. And here's a quick tip, by the way. when you're creating a digital brand, you should have all of your social media handles reserved. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, every social media account, even the ones that you don't even use. I have a Parler account. I barely use Twitter. I have a Clubhouse account. Every single thing is CEO Lawyer. If you're having difficulty finding a name, pick a name that has 2 words in it. Because the names that have 2 words, like CEO Lawyer, like boss attorney, like accident expert, or legal help for workers or whatever, the more words it has, the higher likelihood that it hasn't been reserved by other people. And you can go ahead and buy all the domains, all the social media handles, and then trademark it. So that's what I would recommend when building a digital brand. It does not have to be the name of your law firm. In fact, I have never seen a social media page go viral or grow as a business brand for a law firm. It's always the personal brand, because people love you. They don't love your business.
Yeah, super smart. I think that umbrella branding is makes so much sense. We see some questions about kind of how can attorneys get help doing this. Most of you know that, I see a ton of our subscribers on here actually today, but most of you know about our Marketing Amplifier program, where you get access to massive amounts of branded FAQ content, lead magnets, email follow-ups, newsletters. And we also shoot monthly custom videos for you. But because of kind of this intense demand for more social media support, we're actually launching a new product called Social Amplifier. So it really kind of goes hand in glove with what we've talked about today. And if you really need help implementing some of the stuff, some of the advice that you heard today, we can certainly help. You can really, I always describe it as sort of supercharge your social presence without adding to your workload. So we've really designed this program so that your participation, it's limited to a monthly 30-minute Zoom shoot with us. We take care of everything else. So kind of despite that minimal time investment, your profiles, they'll become active, effective. Your followers will increase, their engagement will increase, and your phone will ring. It doesn't happen overnight, but certainly the increase will be noticed after just a few months of the increased activity. So if you don't have a Facebook or Instagram or other profile, YouTube business channel, we build all those for you. We schedule these 30-minute shoots with you. Our in-house video editors conduct dozens of shoots every month. So we've really kind of dialed in the process, streamlined the process for, sort of maximum output with minimal time. So we provide the scripts, the talking points, the topics, bullets, as much or little support as you want. We work with you after the shoot, we edit. We generally can pull 4 to 6 videos out of each 30-minute shoot. We size them, optimize them, schedule them at least twice weekly. If you want to be, more aggressive, we're also flexible there. So it's, this Social Amplifier program, it really can be a standalone service, or it can certainly be bundled onto your content heavy Marketing Amplifier program. So if you want to learn more, I'll drop my scheduler link in there, but happy to jump on a Zoom appointment with you. You can feel free to schedule with me. I'll share examples of the videos and the social posts that we've created. I'm also happy to just kind of answer any other general marketing questions. I've been helping lawyers with their marketing for many, many years, so I love to talk about what works. So let me just kind of drop this in the chat now. But Ali, before we wrap, I really want you to tell our audience more about your coaching offering, because I know 100% that there are folks on this call that would be interested. So maybe you can tell them a little bit more about that and how they could potentially get involved.
First, guys, I've been working with Cara and seeing the work that she's done in the legal community since last year. And I highly, highly recommend, if you're uncomfortable with the video and the content creation side, work with James Publishing on the content and the social amplification, because it's going to get you comfortable in front of the camera. You do those content pieces and you might realize, hey, I only need to do this a couple of times and now I got the hang of it. And I know that there's people that are doing it monthly. In fact, I am going to be doing it myself to experiment with it and see if there's a way that I can add more content to my page, because every opportunity that you get to create content could be another opportunity for a client. So I want you to think about content as this big blue ocean. And the more you put out there, the higher the chance you're going to get that big fish, right? So I love doing videos, but I do want to share with you my best performing post. So if you're uncomfortable on videos, here is my best performing post that's been running as an ad since May 1st, 2018. Okay. It's just a picture. That's all it is. All right. It was taken with an iPhone. It's not even in my office. Those aren't even my degrees. Okay. This is just a picture that one of my employees took, like the first employee that I ever had. And then there's a little, and it's got 13,000 likes, 1,500 comments. And then I don't know how many shares, but I'm sure it's like in the thousands. And this is what it says. I am the product of Palestinian immigrant parents who moved to the Bible Belt in Dalton, Georgia to raise 6 children. Every morning we would wake up for morning prayers, and I'd drive to the tiny mosque on McAfee Street in the hood. It was not uncommon to hear gunshots while we were praying, especially during nighttime prayers. After the morning prayers, we would read Quran, practicing letter by letter, accent by accent, word by word. After Quran, we would get ready for school if it was a weekday, while on weekends, we just went straight to work with my father. My first workplace injury was at age 8 when a propane tank fell on my foot and it swelled up to the size of a rugby ball. My 3rd grade teacher, Mr. Kittle, had to pick me up and take me to class because we were in an old building with stairs and no elevator. The next year, a used tire exploded in my face while I was airing it up on an old school Coates tire machine. By age 10, I was doing basic oil changes and other light mechanical work. At 13, I started buying and selling electronics online and built a full e-commerce store to help support my family. By 15, I became financially independent. By 17, I started my own business. By 18, things were looking up. By 19, I lost $25,000 from a former customer who told me that if I returned for my money or merchandise, I'd get a bullet in my head. At age 20, I opened a store inside Town Center Mall in Kennesaw, Georgia, while studying English, Spanish, and Chinese at Kennesaw State University. I started my doctorate in law at age 21, master's in business at 22, and became one of the youngest JD MBA graduates in Georgia State history at 24. I'm 28 now, and I've become a published legal author with my own firm servicing personal injury victims nationwide. I have the best support staff and attorneys that come to work every day motivated to change lives. Just recently, I was also mentioned in Forbes magazine. I worked almost every single day of my life and thought there was no end in sight. We have no control over our upbringing and our childhood circumstances, but with faith, gratitude, and grit, even the unimaginable can become possible. Please, if you feel that things are tough right now or that you'll never see success, have faith in yourself and get back to work. Patience is truly a virtue. Alhamdulillah, always. Here's the thing about this post. It's my story, okay? No one cares about my story until I've given them good value and a reason for them to follow my page. So when you're creating these videos, give your audience something of value. They will reward you by following your page, and then you hit them with that ad right after. So the moment they see a viral video for 15, 20, 30 seconds about these legal tips about workers for lawyers and how to overcome this DUI or what to do when at a police checkpoint. By the way, criminal defense content and police content is always the best, always goes viral. Hit them with that content first and then run your story as an ad to them. That's how you get people to care about you and you amplify the exposure and the engagement on your page. So just because you don't do video or aren't great at video doesn't mean you can't build a page. My best content is that one. And then also a picture of me standing with a client holding up a check for $200,000. Just like, yeah, like big checks always go viral. So with that being said, we did our CEO Lawyer Summit last year in December. It was the second time we did it because we started in 2019. We're tentatively set for October of this year. And honestly, what we're doing this year is we built our CEO Lawyer Academy where we're teaching lawyers how to go to 8 figures completely virtually. Marketing is probably 1 or 2 of the lessons. And a lot of people got discouraged from that because it's not just marketing. It's let's audit your business model. Let's see where your profitability stands. How can we support your law firm with virtual assistants? Okay, every one of our Academy members gets a free virtual assistant for the first month to try them out. How can we build an awesome landing page for you? Okay, everyone gets a free landing page for us to create. How can we teach your media team how to create content, for an entire day? I'll fly my media team out to your office personally. This is an expensive coaching program because it's one-on-one and we have to limit the size. But look, I don't think that you actually have to do it. I think you should just copy all the people that are already doing really, really good content, and then just do it yourself and find your voice by practicing. The problem with experience is that you have to practice first. You can't get experience without like making a fool of yourself. So do the content, create the videos, figure out this marketing and the business side of things. There's tons of information out there. There are a lot of coaching programs and consulting programs. If you haven't done any of this stuff, I highly recommend working with Cara on the social amplification program that she has, because I think that's going to get your feet wet, and then they'll help you get to that viral content first. And once you have that, then you start running it as ads. We also have a course that you can review this stuff, like how to run ads from your phone. So there's also, an easier option, a cheaper option to go through. But I wanted to hopefully give you guys some value by coming on this page, or on this talk today. I hope that I answered any questions. And if you have any other additional questions, just shoot me a message at CEO Lawyer on Instagram. I do review those messages myself, and I'll be more than happy to audit your social media page and give you feedback right away. I don't sugarcoat things, so I'm going to tell you how it is. Just understand that I'm doing it out of love. Okay, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but if you're doing something over and over again, expecting different results, it's called insanity. So don't do that.
Well, that's what we appreciate about you, Ali. Really, you're always an open book. Your advice is spot on. It's incredible. We really, really appreciate it. I know that our audience today will get so much from it. So reach out to Ali. He gives you a look under the hood and lets you know kind of what works, and it's invaluable resource. So Ali, thank you. Thank you for the time. And I appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. We'll be back soon with another session. Thanks,
Thank you so much, Mara. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.